36 years old Kevin O'Keefe traveled alone from Sacramento, California and arrived in Juneau on or near September 20th, 1985. On September 22nd, he was flown by a float plane into Muir Inlet just north of Wolf Point, where he set up his camp. On October 8, 1985, two park rangers were doing their regular patrol by boat when they stopped at Kevin's campsite. When they reached the site, they saw Kevin's tent had one pole inside that had come down. This tent was near high tide line, and the rangers found a line of debris that appeared to be strewn by the high water mark. They found his foam pad, sleeping bag and other items outside the tent lying on the ground. The rangers knew Kevin was supposed to be picked up in 2 days, so they didn't touch anything. 4 rangers returned back the next day and saw the camp untouched. The rangers called Kevin's name couple times, but they got no response. On October 10th, rangers returned back to the site and started a full-blown search for Kevin with the help of an airplane. They did a 2-hour fly over the area but found no sight of Kevin. They brought in search dogs and found his boots and a hat half a mile away from his camp. They were in a gully which was out of sight of the main camp. They also found his food and caches. Rangers clearly stated there were no bear tracks anywhere in the area and said it was as if there was no wildlife at all. Kevin's other items were found in 60, 120 and 200 to 300 feet from his tent. All the items Kevin needed to survive was close to his tent, and he had no reason to go out in the wild without taking his essential supplies. Rangers found Kevin's day pack in an inventory search, indicating he had not left his camp. Alaska is cold and there would be no way Kevin would want to walk the wild barefooted. Also, why his sleeping bag was outside of his tent. Searchers never found any signs of animal attack or any blood in the area. Also, if an animal attacked Kevin, it would have eaten Kevin's food, but that wasn't the case. Kevin O'Keefe was never found. The Hagen family went on a 6-week summer vacation in July of 1953 in Wade, Ontario, which is 6 miles west of Minaki. They also had their 3 daughters with them, which were happy to visit the grandparents in the cottage. This area is swampy and has many lakes. There is also a Canadian railroad line that ran through the territory. This was an extremely remote part of northern Ontario. On July 5, 1953, the families were getting ready to spend the day at Fox Lake. 2 of the girls were in the front yard of the cabin, and 5-year-old Geraldine was in the side yard. At 10 a.m., the families were ready to leave, but they couldn't find Geraldine. The family knew she was alone only for less than 10 minutes. They searched the area extensively but couldn't find the girl. They let the police know about the situation, and they were at the scene in no time. Once the police officers reached the area, they also notified the First Nation trackers who lived in the region. Federal Army personnel were notified as well, and they came to help. As the search was starting, a heavy rain hit the area, which slowed down the effort, removing any footprints that might have existed. Geraldine's father specifically said that Geraldine didn't like the dark, and if lost, she would sit and cry. He said she wouldn't wander. That was good news for searchers, as they thought this would be over quickly. After 3 days of searching, they finally found some footprints which they believed belonged to Geraldine. They found the footprints high on a rock ledge above Fox Lake. At this point, the number of searchers reached to 200. On 7th day of the search, after not finding the girl or any further trace of her, they brought in Harry House, which had the reputation of finding 2 boys 2 years earlier than this incident. He had found the boys near Long Lake and he believed he would find Geraldine at that lake as well. It's worth mentioning there are 12 lakes in this area, but he thought they find the girl at Long Lake. 9 days into the search, First Nation searchers found a small piece of cloth which they thought belonged to Geraldine's shirt on the eastern shore of Long Lake. Geraldine's parents confirmed it was from her shirt. On the 10th day, First Nation searchers were at the far northeastern corner of the Long Lake. They were 600 feet south of railroad tracks when they came across what they believed was Geraldine's remains. They found her shirt and her blue jeans. There was a grassland near the clothes which had been matted down, which indicated something large had been dragged there. Geraldine's blue jean had one leg turned inside out. They found this scene between Catastrophe Lake and Long Lake. There was blood at the scene as well. There was not enough left of Geraldine's body for proper burial nor an inquest. It was obvious the body was consumed by animals, but the natives who found the remains said there was no blood on the clothes, which meant the girl was consumed after her clothes were removed. Searchers found wolf hair in the area but believed they were at the scene after Geraldine died. Several articles mentioned she died from wolf attack, but when the natives heard that statement, they came back and stated there was no blood on her clothing. If wolf attacked Geraldine, her clothes would be shredded to pieces and there would be blood on the clothing. The two boys Harry House had found 2 years earlier was never identified and there are no documents showing who he had found and if he had found them alive. How Geraldine Hagen died in August of 1953 remains a mystery to this day. Jane Smith was a 20-year-old girl who lived in a rural portion of southern Sudbury, Ontario on Charlotte Street. There are lots of forests in this area and there is a lake 1 mile from where Jane was living at. On August 9, 1975, Jane was seen going to bed at 2 a.m. On the same day at 7 a.m. in the morning, Jane was gone. Jane's disappearance is similar to 3 other students missing in the United States which were also from rural locations. 21 years old Ruth Baumgartner disappeared on May 4, 1937 from Wesleyan University in Delaware, Ohio. She disappeared in the middle of the night from her dorm room. Another missing is Ram Tamen with 19 years of age who disappeared from his dorm room in the middle of the night on April 19, 1953. Richard Cox was 22 years old when he disappeared in the middle of the night from U.S. Military Academy in West Point, New York on January 14, 1950. None of these people were ever found.